Daniel Henninger joins us next from the Wall Street Journal, but first let's watch this.
If Bernie loses, which he will because his system is rigged very badly, frankly, he should run as an independent. Bernie should definitely run as an independent. But Bernie, his people are going to vote, big percentages of the Bernie people are going to vote for Trump.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a perfect segue to our next guest, Daniel Henninger, the Deputy Editorial Page Director for the Wall Street Journal, Pulitzer Prize Winning Journalist, and Fox News contributor. Hello, sir.
Hi there, Steve.
Good to talk to you. Okay, so you wrote a great piece. Your last piece was Trump and Bernie, less is more. But first, let's start with this revelation that some of the polls have shown recently that Donald was commenting on, and that is that there's a solid chunk of Bernie supporters who say not only won't they, not vote for Hillary in a general election, but they'll vote for Trump.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me all that much, Steve. Some of them might, not all of them, but you look at the exit polls in the primaries we've had, every single one of them, the number one issue on the Republican and the Democratic side has been economic anxiety over, the weak economy that we're in. And that is exactly what Donald Trump is talking about when he says, make America great again. And it's the only thing Bernie Sanders talks about. They do it in different ways. Trump says he doesn't agree with much of anything Bernie Sanders is saying. But in that respect, they're singing from the same hymnal. So no surprise to me that, some of those Sanders supporters might migrate eventually over into Mr. T's column.
And by the way, Hillary's answer today to the economy is Trump won't release his tax returns. We know he went bankrupt a couple of times. How do you not make money running a casino? That's her answer. I mean, she's really getting desperate, I think. But let's talk about Bernie. Maybe it's Bernie who's making her that way. Your piece is great. It asks a lot of questions. You talk about how Trump, being Trump, just ran over 16 traditional, well-qualified politicians, and Sanders, even though he's a politician, is doing similar things to Hillary. How is this happening?
Well, I think it's because both of them have picked up on the mood of the country in many ways. I mean, I was struck. The reason I wrote this column was I thought, both Trump and Sanders have gotten really far by actually offering not all that much, by offering very little. In the sense of detail. I mean, they've got big ideas, but they don't go into the policy weeds, like the 15 guys and women that Trump defeated, and like God knows Hillary Clinton, the super wonk. Both of them kept it simple, and I think that is the kind of the mood that the American people are in. They don't want heavy detail. They want to keep it simple because a lot about their lives now is run that way. If you're looking at your cell phone all day, you click, the software does the work for you. It's a kind of fire and forget culture that we're in right now. I'm not saying that's necessarily bad. I'm saying that's the way people think, and Trump and Sanders have plugged into that.
So what is the role for Sanders as you see it? You reference in your column, and I don't have the direct quote in my head, that Sanders isn't going to be the nominee. So what is Sanders going to be? The Saturday Night Live skit, of course, said, I know what, I'll make you the senator from Vermont. What is he going to be?
Well, at the moment, he's looking like he could be the spoiler. I mean, he's got the bit in his mouth, and he's not going to spit it for the Democrats or for Hillary Clinton. And at the moment, he looks as though I think he's causing some problems for them, Steve. He's determined to move the party left. Bernie Sanders is a man of the left. He has not been really a member of the Democratic Party for most of his life. And what he's bringing to the surface is the reality that in the wake of Barack Obama, also a man of the left, the Democratic Party is not your father's Democratic Party. It's not Bill Clinton's Democratic Party. It's the party of Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and I would say Barack Obama. So his legacy, I think, is that he is going to turn Hillary Clinton into a candidate of the left. And that's what's driving her and the Democrats crazy. But it's going to be really difficult for them to avoid that, and I suspect Trump is going to be able to exploit that handily.
What do you make of his going after Debbie Wasserman Schultz by supporting her primary challenger and saying that if he's president, she's out as DNC head?
Yeah, well, he is in a war with the Democratic National Committee, no question about it, and nobody perhaps deserves it more than Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'm not going to weep if some unknown defeats her. But Bernie has thrown down the gauntlet, and they're going to have to step up and deal with him and come up with some answers to the sorts of things he's proposing. He just got himself, I guess this afternoon, he named Jim Zogby onto one of the committees for the convention.
Yeah, well, he could have Jim Zogby, to me, who has no use for Israel and makes excuses for, in my opinion, Muslims and Muslim terrorists.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing Sanders, the direction that Sanders is forcing the Democratic Party in right now.
Yep.
So they've got a guy here that's not going away, 74 years old and all.
You go, Bernie. Very quickly. What do you make of the polls that show? I mean, Trump has closed 11, 12, 10, 8-point gaps in a month.
That shows to me just how weak a candidate Hillary Clinton is. The one that really intrigues me, Steve, is the head-to-head between Sanders and Trump, which has Bernie up by about 13 points.
I don't get that.
That's the weird thing I don't get. Maybe if it was a generic Democrat like Joe Biden, he'd also be ahead by that much. It's kind of a warning to Trump that he can't get complacent. He's really, if it's going to be Hillary, he's just going to have to put her away big time.
Yep. Daniel, always appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Great to talk to you, Steve.